We are rolling.
We are rolling.
Indeed.
All right. So, finally. It's 9 days later, 10 days later.
Oh, man. It's felt like...
It feels like it's been a month.
Yeah, it really does.
It really... Yeah. But you know what? They don't want to hear us whine. Because, Karl, we are here to help people.
That is true.
That is our new mission.
Yeah.
Because, 13 is like the end of a cycle. This is now 14. Right. And so it's the start of a new cycle.
Right. And I think the ancient Mayans talked about it a lot.
Yeah. What's an ancient mind?
The ancient Mayan civilization talked about like cycles.
Is that
of 13.
A person?
The Mayans.
The ancient Mayans. I thought you said the ancient Mayans. The ancient Mayans.
The ancient Mayans. Yeah, they talked about those.
I knew a girl named Maya.
Did you?
Yes.
Did she ever talk about 13?
No, she wasn't. She wasn't smart, but that was. That's a terrible thing to say.
Maybe she's someone that we could help.
You know what? We could.
Maybe we'll focus on Maya today. For all the Mayas out there.
For all the Mayas out there.
Ancient Mayas or new Mayas.
We're here for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm JW Myers.
I'm Karl Brewdio.
And holy crap, it's a movie Brewdio podcast with JW and Karl. Yes, there's. We should insert like a crowd cheering here. We're two guys living in Western Maryland who love our small town lives, yet cling to our past days of social and cultural relevance.
So in our podcast, we talk about the movies, the podcast, and other resources that enable us to walk through life with a smile on our faces and a little bit of kindness in our hearts.
And
yes,
our podcast is on frickin' iTunes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And
go download today.
Yeah. No download today.
I said go.
Go download it today.
Do it right now.
I don't care if they download it. What I want you to do is subscribe to it. That's what's
yes,
we got to get those.
Yeah.
We're really starting to hit a rhythm with this thing.
Yeah.
That they will be improving because I think we have found what our podcast is really about.
Yeah,
I know we say that every week.
Right. And one of these weeks it's going to be true. We're going to hit it.
Yes. So anyway, we mentioned it's been a long week, Karl.
It's been a very long week.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, it has been a long week.
Last time we recorded in the middle of a blizzard.
We did.
I felt like we were off our game last time.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was mediocre at best.
I think in the back of my mind, there was this. There was the ticking clock of I'm going to get snowed in to Frostburg,
and the thought of having to live in my daughter's room. Which is where we recorded the last podcast.
And it was weird because the last podcast was actually I had seen 2 movies, and I actually had things to talk about. I thought, this is going to be great. This is a slam dunk. Not so much.
Yeah,
it was more
it felt awkward.
It was it wasn't slam dunk as much as underhand granny shot free throw.
Yeah,
like you did in elementary school.
Well, and we were saddled with, we had kids. There's also kids in the house.
There were kids in the house.
It was spring break.
Right.
Oh my God, it was... No, it wasn't spring. It was spring break the week before. It was snow day last week.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, snow day.
Yeah, we had snow day.
Yeah.
And
this week, feeling good. I mean, not really, but feeling better than at the beginning of the week.
Oh,
going to plow into it.
Oh, it's been a heck of a week.
It's been a heck of a week.
Yeah. It's been a heck of a week, but we'll get into that. In spite of this being a kind of a rather crappy week, did anything make you laugh this week, Karl?
Let's see. What made me laugh this week?
You were taking way too long to make that. You're just like, oh my God, improv class was great.
How about you tell me what made you laugh, and then I'll think of what made me laugh. I'm sure
I had
something
nothing.
made me laugh.
I had nothing. I had a horribly depressing week.
I did too, actually.
There were just some events in life. It's like, man, it's heavy.
It's been the same week for me, quite honestly. It's very strange. But one thing I did... was I went through, for some reason it popped up in my head, and I went back looking at old Kids in the Hall sketches and Kids in the Hall are growing up. It was it filled a huge slot of Comedy Central's programming in the 90s. So really my comedy sensibilities are probably like Saturday Night Live, SCTV, The Kids in the Hall, Mystery Science Theater,
right?
Like that Comedy Central, Comedy Central from 1992 is basically my comedic sensibilities. So, and I'd forgotten how funny.
So you saw that, but also your Mystery Science Theater got Well, they were pushing it or advertising. I guess it's been on there for a while.
Yeah, well, the new season comes out April 14th on Netflix. So they're not a paid advertiser. So we don't have to give them those. We don't have to give
We're
them.
giving those of our own free will.
Yes, just I'm releasing that into the universe.
Yes.
I think so they released the trailer for the new season, and it looks and feels exactly like Mystery Science Theater should. I mean, from the trailer, they kept the aesthetic. They kept that sort of like junk store aesthetic of hot gluing stuff together and making little models and I mean it looks really, really good. Fingers crossed it's going to be good. And
I'm going to watch it this time around.
I'm looking forward to it. And
I'm really doing it to support you.
Thank you. I appreciate it
because I know how important it is to you.
No, it's really a formative. It was a really formative experience for me, and it was a thing that really. I've said this before. I felt like they had a direct line on my sensibilities in terms of pop culture references and the way they would reference stuff. But it was also like mini film school, because it was watch this film, let people deconstruct this film for you, what doesn't work, and then you go like, oh yeah, that's why you shouldn't have just two characters standing ramrod straight in a scene for 15 minutes. That doesn't really that's not really compelling cinema. And it was film school by osmosis in reverse.
Gotcha.
You know,
film school by osmosis in reverse. I remember that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I watched Dave Chappelle.
How was it? Was it good?
I only got through the first one. And I say got through. It was funny.
Yeah.
I like Chappelle. It was funny. Well, I think my biggest observation about the whole thing is we've been hearing for a while about, and we've got a dog barking in the house.
That's all right.
That's all right. She's a little obstinate. She'll probably and Oscar's going to.
And Oscar's barking too.
Hold on, I'll tell you about.
It's all right.
Chappelle.
Well, I've heard a couple people say that it's. I mean, Chappelle's funny anyway. The one thing I did read was he had made some comment. There was some sort of.
I know this one.
There was some sort of rift between him and Key and Peele.
No,
maybe?
this is what I was going to say.
Okay,
this is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So and that bothered me because I love Key and Peele. You know what he said? Here it was like the media created this whole thing because the first special was over a year ago.
Right.
Okay, it's like recorded last spring or something. He said, "Yeah, so everybody's wondering what I've been doing, and then he just said." It's just I was watching Key and Peele do my show.
Right.
It was a joke. Like it was just it was a line in his stand-up.
Right.
That's all it was.
Right.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And see,
that was the extent of it.
And I always felt like it was. I mean, there was overlap between those two shows, and certainly in the way that they talked about sort of race and the way they talked about sort of those differences. But to me, they occupy such different, because Key and Peele, like there was this overlap of racial stuff, but Key and Peele would also spin off and do. One of my favorite Key and Peele sketches is when when they're writing the script for Gremlins 2, and Star Magic Jackson Jr. comes
Magic Jackson Jr.
The Hollywood sequel doctor, and that doesn't have anything to do like that. You would not have seen it on Chappelle's show.
But see, I don't think. Again, I think it was just a line.
It was just a line.
It was just a line. I don't think Chappelle had any feeling about that.
Well,
I think it was blown up into something it wasn't. I think he just said something offhand, and it was a clever thing to say,
right?
And that's what it was.
And Jordan Peele had also said he said we consciously tried not to do Chappelle Show stuff because Chappelle Show was such a monster of a show. It occupied such a huge space that it pushed them to do stuff that you wouldn't have seen. And that's the thing. I don't think Key and Peele would have come up with the World Series of Craps. That's a great sketch, right? Like all these different characters, but it's Dave Chappelle. That's his sensibility. Yeah.
Well, and I could go on with Key and Peele forever because I got into them. But my big thing about Key and Peele was watching it. Like I felt like, we've done comedy about everything.
Right.
Like we've done comedy about everything, and watching their show, I always felt it was so original.
Yeah.
No one's done this Gremlin sketch before.
Right.
There was this whole new perspective on things that.
And I love that Key and Peele was also there were times where I would watch a sketch and I would go, you could see by the way the sketch was presented how it had been written. Mm-hmm. You know, like you could see the process of going like, I know where this sketch came from. This came from somebody saying, I watched Gremlins 2 the other day, and it's the weirdest damn movie I've ever seen. Why are there all these gremlins? Where did this come from? And then you could see them riff on it. Oh, they sat down and they went around the round table and
Well, in all 5 seasons, they did a different lead in every time. Yeah. Like sometimes they'd be on stage talking to the audience. They would cut to a sketch.
Right.
The one season they were driving in the car having a chat. Yeah. And so there was always a different lead in to what they did. So they were all, I don't know.
I mean, Key and Peele is, that stuff to me is fantastic. Have you ever seen the sketch where they're doing like it's like the 80s like jazz aerobics dancing?
Oh, yes.
And they're like, they're showing them cue cards off camera, like your wife was just in a horrible accident, and they're like, keep dancing, keep smiling, and and so he's still dancing and smiling. It's just, but again, it didn't feel to me to occupy very little of the space that Chappelle Show occupied.
But again, I don't think Chappelle was accusing them that. I think it was an offhand comment in a stand-up thing that the media tried to make. Oh, now there's this big rift between Key and Peele and Chappelle.
And I think
just made a joke. He's
I
a
think
comedian.
Sometimes that ends up happening when it's sort of like. Yeah. I think you see that more with maybe black comedians than you do like. Because there was, like when Chappelle Show started, I think there was sort of a. I remember maybe I'm misremembering this, but there were people who were sort of like, well, he's kind of doing like what Chris Rock does with his sketches when Chris Rock had his show on HBO. I was like, kind of, but it was its own thing,
I think, but stupid white people a lot. Well, they're both African American, so they're clearly doing the same humor. Yes,
that's right.
But the fact that Chappelle said that,
do you mean two Negroes can do different kinds of comedy? What? Right? It's crazy.
Oh, it's a crazy progressive world.
I mean, and it's great. I mean, to see Chappelle, to see him come back, because I felt like at one point he seemed to have almost said like, I'm done with this. I'm done with doing this. I'm done with doing comedy. I'm done with trying to be, I think Chappelle Show got so popular so fast that it wasn't a it was something that I think he felt out of control.
Yeah.
And he talked about that the same thing that Chris Rock had talked about, which was there was a point where like Chris Rock would do sketches that were very racially, talking about the difference between white people and black people and these different things. But he would occasionally touch on a joke where he said he would look out and he would see white people laughing a little too hard.
Right.
And it was like, or like he would touch on something where white people were sort of like, yeah, you tell those black people, and it was like, I'm going to stop doing this, And I think Chappelle had that same thing where it was like, we're getting into this area where, you don't want to suddenly give people excuses for like going, oh, well, Dave Chappelle said this and this and this, and so because Dave Chappelle said this, I can say this, or, oh, well, because I saw Chris Rock do this bit where he was talking about this thing, and, and everyone laughed at it, so it's perfectly fine if I say it. It's like, no, you're a white dude. You don't have the cultural collateral to do that.
That's interesting, because I think that's probably a subject that maybe we should have an African American representative here to discuss that rather than, because again we're two white guys that are laughing a little bit too hard. Well, but there's something to what you're saying, it's playing to a white crowd for the wrong reason.
Right, or it's presenting, and I think when I've seen Chris Rock talk about this, and I don't want to try and sound like I'm an expert on this, but when I've seen Chris Rock talk about it, it's been from the perspective of, like, if it's one thing for a black person to critique their community, it's one thing for a black person to give a critique of some aspect of their community or their culture or whatever.
Sure.
But if that, you don't want that to then be a blanket excuse for white people to, or for some other person to use that and say, yes, here's this critique, and here's this black person who agree. You know, it's
it's the same mentality of well, I should be able to use the N-word because they use the N-word all the time.
I have a black friend, and he says that he's not offended by the N-word. It's like, well, amazingly, I subscribe to this really insane concept that black people are human beings, and that they might all have different opinions on things.
That's crazy.
And that just because one guy says, "Oh, I think it's okay," does not necessarily mean that everyone's going to think it's okay. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I believe that women are human beings, and so you may have
you've gone too far. Carl, you're making this podcast
I proudly say women are human beings, and they may have different opinions on things.
Did you see I posted on Facebook that said CIA admits to ousting David Lee Roth or whatever
from the Onion, yes.
And so we kind of launched into a tongue-in-cheek argument about it,
right?
And I saw like a couple people like pop in for one comment or whatever, and I was like, I think they think we're serious.
I think there was a guy. Because I commented there was this David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar back and forth as sort of political parties. And so I said, like, open your eyes, sheeple. You know, Gary Sharon was obviously, and there was this guy who was like, because then you said, I think your view is a little extreme. Yeah. Ha ha ha. And I said, my love can't be explained. It would take more than words. Ha ha. In all caps. And this guy's like, please don't explain. Please don't explain your love. And I was like,
I know who that was, and I could explain that. I have to explain that one to you another time. He might be one of our podcast listeners.
He may be. Yes. He may. I just wanted to make sure that he understands that I'm fairly Van Halen agnostic, to be honest, because I'm of a different vintage.
Now those are fighting words. I'm a huge Van Halen fan.
I'm of a different vintage, because I'm younger than you. So it's I miss the Van Halen, because Van Halen
like
for
both
me
versions a lot for me.
Yeah, I mean Van Halen for me was Sammy Hagar and what I can't remember what album it was. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Well, that one that was kind of the one too far, but OU812 and 5150. Those two albums were fantastic, and then for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge kind of started going downhill, and then they had this Twins album or something that was really bad.
I don't know, like that was the first album that like that's when I was like, oh, there's this band Van Halen, they have this new album. Like it was the same way that
you are a child.
Yeah.
You are a child.
The first Aerosmith album I was when I was really aware of a band called Aerosmith, it was Pump. Yeah. So Love in an Elevator, and Janie's Got a Gun, and
I only really got on the Aerosmith album, the one before that, Permanent Vacation.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was two before. But Permanent Vacation was but that was their first sober album.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. There's some good stuff, and I like David Lee Roth stuff. I probably lean more David Lee Roth than Sammy Hagar, but I'm not a Gary Sharon fan. I just want it on record.
Extreme, I love the band.
Yes,
Extreme,
I really like.
And I had become this huge Extreme fan. So when Sharon was going to be added to Van Halen, I was like, okay, all right, okay, no, not so much.
Really worked.
Just never really work.
And that was at a weird time too, because that was like 97.
Yeah,
96, 97, 98 maybe.
Yeah.
So music was very different. If you were a sort of legacy band, it was very. It was in this in between time where
we'd come after
like
Soundgarden and
grunge
actually
alternative music.
The thing that happened was the acoustic revolution that happened.
Yeah, there was
grunge and the acoustics.
Yeah,
all that.
And it was before
happened,
sort of the resurgence of metal bands. It was before Iron Maiden came back and before Judas Priest came back.
I'm sorry, has never come back. They did a series of really great albums in the late 80s, and that was...
I don't think Bruce Dickinson can hit those notes anymore, unfortunately.
The Tattooed Millionaire.
And he fences.
Oh, yeah, he's really interesting. I think he's beat cancer now and stuff, too. He's had a really fascinating life.
He's one of those guys. Yeah. We talked about this the other. My great grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister, right? But it was one of like 50 things that he did in his lifetime. He was a magician. Like he knew Blackstone the magician. You know? he had been a bare knuckle fighter, like boxer, and Dad asked him when he was a kid, like, why'd you stop boxing? And he said, I stunk. I kept getting beat up, so I quit. But he was that kind of thing. Like he would.
Why'd you stop doing podcasts, Karl?
I stunk. It was awful.
I kept getting beat up.
I just stopped. But they, you would read like biographies of people. Like you read a biography of an author now on the back of their book, and it's like he has a degree in journalism from whatever school. He lives in Connecticut with his wife and 2 cats. Yeah. But if at like the turn of the 20th century, it would be like, this is, the author, spent time panhandling, panning for gold in Alaska, was a fugitive from the law, falsely accused of murder, all these things. This is his first novel, and he's done all these incredible things. Fought in the Spanish-American War, and then also wrote a book.
I feel like that's my life. That's the thing. I'm still searching for what it is.
Like that thing that's gonna maybe it's gonna be this.
But no, Karl. I tell you what it's gonna be. Yeah. I figured it out. I figured out our true calling.
Oh, good.
Karl, you and I are here to help people.
I really feel that. I'm a helper.
So this is a new segment that we're going to do on the show. This is the thing. All along, for 13 episodes, for those of you who've stuck with us through 13 episodes and 6 trial episodes, so this is really kind of number 20.
Right, yeah.
The new segment is called the Awesome Self-Help section with JW and Karl.
Yeah.
Because I know that you're asking yourself out there, how can we make our lives better, the way that JW and Karl have?
Yeah, right.
I mean, clearly our lives are better.
I think by any objective standard, our lives are better. If you're
going to be a self-help guru, which Karl and I are now going to be self-help gurus, you first have to start, I think, by proclaiming yourself better than other people.
I think it just comes with the territory, and I've always felt like I was better than other people.
You kind of got everything figured out.
Yeah, So I think now we can make it public. We can publicly announce that we're just a little bit better, not dramatically.
Not dramatically. We're not so much better than everyone that to a point where it would make you feel bad.
No.
But just think of us as 10. You know what? I think that's what we are. We are 10% better.
10%.
I'm writing that down. That's going to be 10% better.
Right.
We are 10% better than you.
Just like we're that really cool guy, where you're just like, that guy's so cool. That's us. If you don't have that guy in your life,
that is JW and Karl.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been listening to some self-help podcasts.
Oh yeah.
And I started to laugh.
Yeah.
Because there's some guy that's clearly one quarter to one half my age,
right?
Telling me all the great advice, how to live my life, and at some point I'm like, well, I think I have more to offer this realm than him.
It's difficult for me when people start from a position of hey, here are all the things that when you do all these things, you can have all these incredible experiences, whatever, and step one, have a lot of money. Because then, because then it's like if you have a lot of money, then you have the freedom to just do what you want. And it's like, I never thought of that.
Okay, there you go.
I never thought that I should just have a lot of money, and then I could just not do anything all day and just devote time to fixing myself.
So that's a really good place to start, Karl. If you're not already kind of a self-sufficient millionaire,
right?
First step is go get money.
Go get money.
Just
do it.
However, whatever you have to do, getting money is the easy part. According to all the other self-help. Advice out there.
I feel bad even saying it. I feel like that. Obviously,
that's
go
kind
get
of
some
a
money.
given.
Yeah,
And speaking of giving, the first thing you do in this self-help universe, is give us your money.
Well, I think it's so important to have that giving spirit, and it makes you feel so good. And I think how much better would you feel if you knew that your money was going to someone who was just a little bit better than you.
Exactly.
I think
it's like it's like tithing to your source.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
You should be tithing to Karl and I.
Yes, I think it's perfect.
I was involved with a thought program that actually had us doing that.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, you'd have something you wanted to create in your life, and you'd put money in an envelope and send it to them. That was how you did. Yes. I'm like, wow. All I got to do is send this?
Right. And then it does something?
No, I generally just send them like $1.
Right, just like here.
And probably they're probably like, well, this is pathetic.
I tried doing that, but I was sending. I didn't have any money, so I was sending coupons.
Okay,
yeah,
that's no to our audience, don't send us coupons.
No, not that.
Gift cards are okay.
Gift cards would be acceptable.
Yeah, especially Amazon.
But yeah, like that's
iTunes.
what I did. I would go through and be like, it's $1 off of laundry detergent.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's a coupon, buy one get one free for 20 ounces of yams, and I would just be like, send that off.
But I don't want 20 ounces of yams.
No, I didn't either.
That's buy one get one pizza at like a local place.
Right, like that's okay.
That's okay. You could send that.
But that's why I sent that, because I didn't want it either. I didn't want yams.
But if you do send the buy one, get one, you should also send the money to buy one.
I mean? I think
that's a real gesture, and that's more spiritual that way.
Yeah, yes, I think so.
That will bring you closer to Source or God or Universe.
Right, yeah.
Or Karl
the
JW.
Funkadelic spirit. Mm-hmm. If you
right
if
about
you believe
now.
in that, back to the one. If you're a P-Funk all-star
okay.
believer.
So listen, so from now on, when you have self-help questions that you want answered by the masters, JW and Karl.
Right.
Self-proclaimed self-help gurus, JW and Karl.
Yeah.
10% better.
10.
I think there's a podcast called 10% better.
I think
you know what? We're 11% better.
Ooh, 11%.
Screw them. We are 11% better.
And part of this is, I think, in the messaging.
Yeah.
We're only 11% better. Because we don't want people feel bad.
No,
so
if it was like 12 or 13, that's like, look at these egomaniacs.
Yeah, if we're like, we're 25% better. We're a quarter better than you. No,
we are only 11% better.
11% better. Because that's achievable.
Yeah.
For people to be like 11% better, that's
totally you could totally do that.
That's just as easy as getting a bunch of money.
The first 9% is getting that $1 million.
And I mean after that
you've only got 2% more.
The other 2% is basically like
send us
money,
10% of that $1 million,
and then like the other 1% is basically like planking.
Yes,
do that, and I think that you're right there.
There's never a trend that I supported more than planking. Yes,
that's good.
Okay, so whenever you have questions, we want you to post them to our Facebook page, which is currently the Movie Brewdio. Actually, we may change that to the Movie Brewdio with JW and Karl.
Okay,
but right now it is the Movie Brewdio page. Now we've put this out here on the page for a while now. So I have. Here's the first question. It's coming at us from a commenter who identified themselves as being from Colorado.
Okay.
The question is, who the F are you a-holes? Okay. All right. Well, that's Karl. That's a he actually didn't say F or a-holes.
Or a-hole.
They actually used it, but this is a clean podcast, so we like to. Who the F are you a-holes? That's a fair question. When you're getting started in the self-help business,
right?
You're going to get questions like this. You have to establish
who you are.
And so let's start with you, Karl.
Well, I think the important thing is you have to know inside who the F you are inside and exactly what kind of a-hole you are.
That's
yourself, inside yourself.
That's what I'm saying, Karl. Yeah. I hold the mirror up to Colorado and say, well, who the F are you, a-hole? I edit myself because I care about language, and I think that's because this is an individual in pain.
Yes,
and I'm not reacting with anger.
No,
I'm reacting with a mirror and saying, "Well, who the F are you, a-hole?"
Yeah, and that's a question, a-hole, that only you can determine.
Yeah,
who the F you are?
Who are you? I think it's time that you take a deep look inside yourself.
Yes,
and say, who who the F am I? Am I just an a-hole that trolls Facebook and leaves mean comments on well-meaning self-help gurus' pages?
I mean, and look, there's ample evidence to suggest, yes, that is who you are.
That probably is who he is,
but
sure.
Only you can determine that, Colorado. Yeah. Only you know what the F kind of a-hole you are.
Yeah, inside. Who trolls people who have no followers? You know, if you're going to troll somebody, go troll Tim Ferriss. Go troll the minimalist. Go troll somebody who's established themselves rather than, you know, I think the comment says more about the commenter than the commentee.
Yes. Because I can tell you who the F we are, a-hole. Yeah. We are 11% better.
11%, you know what? Well, with someone like that, Carl, who's clearly in pain, we're probably 12 or 13% better.
Maybe 15% better, Colorado. So you think about that. Think about that.
What can you do to shift that 2 to 4% inside of you, a-hole?
Maybe consider punctuation.
Punctuation, that's good.
Just,
this generation doesn't know anything about punctuation.
But thank you for your question, Colorado, and good luck on your path.
Yeah, as a first question on our self-help part of our podcast, that is really, that's really.
I think it's good to establish that up front. Yeah. So that is a good. That's a good
question.
It's a good place to start.
So even though we do, in fact, still think that you're kind of an a-hole, we do want to thank you for getting the ball rolling by asking.
There are no stupid questions.
There are no stupid questions. They're just a-holes.
There are no just stupid people.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. You know where you rate.
Okay.
So that's good. Okay, I feel good.
So here's another one.
Oh, okay, good.
From a listener in they've identified themselves from being from Montana. So we have listeners in Montana now.
Out west, I
To
guess.
our podcast. Yeah, this is really cool. Okay. Is this supposed to be funny, or are you guys really that stupid? Okay.
Now we get this question a lot.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, this comes up a lot.
As a number one asked question.
I think it's probably right after. Who the F are you, a-holes? Is this supposed to be funny?
Yeah.
What is funny? Mm-hmm. I mean, let's talk about that for a second.
Funny is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
It used to be, it's like beauty used to be in the eye of the beholder. But now it's funny.
It's funny.
Funny is in the eye of the beholder.
Right. Is it, is this supposed to be funny? There are people who think it's funny.
Uh-huh. But here we are trying to help people, and this person's laughing at us.
Are we just that stupid? Define stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think Montana, you need to come back and you need to figure out exactly what you're asking. Yeah, because at this point, is this funny? Are you stupid? Like, you need to put some parameters on this, because quite honestly, that's like saying. Would a rose by any other name smell as sweet?
Yes.
It would. But it's that kind of question. Mm-hmm. You have to ask that kind of question to find out the answer.
Listen, I think we really, what's really important is, Carl, how you and I are changing lives.
Yeah, I think
we're changing lives. Let's talk about some of the lives we've changed.
Absolutely. I mean, there was this woman. At the market the other day. And we were walking, we're sort of passing by. Yeah. And I could tell, just, you get that feeling sometimes. Yeah. When you see people and you can kind of read their aura a little bit, you kind of see the glow. And I could just tell there was something very important. She needed just something. Yeah. And so as we walked by, just sort of, non-confrontationally, just sort of held up my hands, palms up, and said, hello, because I want to push that energy out, that positive energy out.
Yeah, you got to send good vibes through your hands,
right? And then, and I could see how receptive she was. I could feel like we started to vibrate kind of on the same wavelength, right?
Yeah.
And I
know that feeling.
And then she was like, she said hello, right? And so suddenly now we're having this intercourse, right? Like this back and forth. And so
now, when you say intercourse, you didn't do that.
No, like spiritual, spiritual.
Okay, I just want to make sure because that's inappropriate.
That would be completely inappropriate
when you're helping people
right.
to have intercourse with them in the middle
right.
of the grocery aisle.
Yes, and they have warned me at Martin's that if it ever happens again, I'm not allowed back in.
Okay, that's fair.
So anyway, so now we've said hello, and I know now that she feels safe enough. We've created a safe space now that she can, bring this problem forward.
Right.
And so she, kind of looked me just right in the eyes, and I could see she's maybe starting to tear up a little bit. Like,
yeah, sure. They do that when you give them vibrations in intercourse.
Right.
They do that.
And that's when she said, "Do you know where I can find the peanut butter?" And I said,
that is beautiful. Karl.
And I said,
that is beautiful. I without even hearing your response,
right.
I just want to honor you for how beautiful that moment is. Yes.
I want to just take a moment and just receive that because I think that really
take that in.
Thank you. And I said, and this was the most important thing I said. I said yes. I said yes.
Oh man.
And then I walked away. I just walked away.
Yeah.
Because I felt like at that point she needed to know
that
I knew where the peanut butter was. And so I felt like, at that point, it was just... I felt like...
I think if you'd have given her more, she'd have been overwhelmed.
I think it really...
You'd have said, it's right over there, lady.
It would have just cheapened the whole experience.
Yeah.
So, I just... and then I broke down.
Yeah, sure.
I made it about 2 aisles over and got into the canned food aisle and just had to cry.
Yeah,
and
sure.
That's when I knew
Martin's is really a receptive place for that.
I think,
especially the Cumberland Martins.
The Cumberland Martins, I think
it's like a place for emotionality.
Well, they built it on a ley line,
which is a word.
Yes, they built it on a ley line. On
a ley.
But
you don't mean that's again we're back to
no.
Oh, it's a different
that ley line.
Look it up, okay? Sedona ley line.
That ley line is actually at the Ramada, but this ley line that Martin's is built on is the spiritual grid of the earth.
Wow.
And it's really just it's like a vessel for these deeply emotional experiences.
That is beautiful. So. I think that's probably something good to note is that now, Karl, how often do you spend how often do you spend time sharing yourself at the Cumberland Martins?
Well, and by sharing yourself, you mean spiritually?
Spiritually.
Oh, spiritually.
Spiritually. I mean, the arrest report.
Right.
I mean, those charges are pending.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be dropped.
I think
so it's not really worth addressing. Yeah.
I can't really talk about that part.
Yeah.
But, because my lawyer said not to. But
sure. Spiritually,
I feel like I'm still there.
Yeah.
I feel like spiritually, there's always a piece of me there. But
So like kind of like bilocation. I mean that's a really high form of spirituality. It's, whenever you can bilocate. So you're here doing the podcast.
Sort of projecting my spirit sort of astrally.
Through your what?
Astrally.
Oh, astrally. Okay, I got it. No, I'm sorry.
Projections.
Yeah.
Right,
So that through your astrally to the
right to
talking
Martin's.
Through your astral.
It's coming out my astral and going
coming out your astral. Into Martin's.
And that's where it all comes back together. And
where does it when you say it comes back together? What does that mean? Most people out here, most of our audience, Karl, I know, are just not on this 11% more spiritual than. So explain when it comes out your astral.
It goes.
Then it goes. How's it come back together?
It kind of goes through and then comes back together in frozen foods.
Really?
Well, the temperature is so much lower.
Oh, foods, so that's what supports it.
So there's a lot of negative ions. Because this is science. I don't have to explain. Everyone understands.
Listen.
How
it's science,
this works.
Quantum physics, folks.
Look it up. When you make something colder, that's when ghosts show up. I think that is. I feel stupid even saying
I'm sorry. Horror movies are always trying to communicate it. to the 11% less people out there.
Yeah.
Whenever the breath comes out their mouth and it's all foggy and stuff. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So you really, you have to be careful around, in the frozen food section.
Sure.
Or some of the refrigerated deli cases can get pretty cold.
Yeah.
Just at home when you're getting frozen broccoli out of the freezer.
Sure.
You have to be real careful that there's not some sort of spirit in the freezer.
Really?
It happens a lot.
Really? What can happen? Yeah.
Well, I ended up...
because we have an extra freezer downstairs.
I've been in it several times.
Holy...
So
you just kind of bilocate into my freezer
sometimes. Well, sometimes going astrally down, it's just you kind of get sucked into the...
Oh, my God. Carl, you got to let me know. We should be unplugging the freezer for this podcast. Yeah. Because here you are coming out through your astral into my freezer downstairs. And you're not even present. That's probably what happened last week. That's
what happened
last week. And it's why the podcast was so
I didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to get into how, why the podcast was not great last week, but that's what happened. And
you came out through your astral.
I was in your freezer. I was in your freezer for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it was just, that was a really harrowing
There were some pot stickers that I got at Trader Joe's that were missing.
That was me. I did take those.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope they were okay.
I just want
they were vegetarians. They're probably.
I just want to say, thank you for the pot stickers and for not judging that I took them.
Well, I didn't realize that you would come out through your astral into my freezer.
It happens sometimes.
Okay, well, especially this is good to know.
The vegetarian pot stickers, sometimes they really contribute to that.
Now, people, the people that aren't 11% less, the people that are 11% higher, like you,
are there steps?
Are there steps that they can take, with their bodies? Mm-hmm. So that they don't end up in a freezer like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The first thing you need to really focus on, anything that's coming out your astral, you want to wear baggy clothes. You don't want to wear something super tight.
Okay.
I find boxers are better.
Okay.
Sweatpants. It's a nice,
boxers and baggy clothes.
Boxers and baggy clothes. Okay. I think that's a good first step.
Can we make an assumption that people that wear boxers and baggy clothes are 11% more spiritual?
I think they're definitely on the path. And I think that's how it's a visual signifier when you see people. You go, oh, here's someone who's traveling on the same path that I'm traveling.
So you can kind of silently sort of not just give them a vibrational nod.
Yes,
and say thank you for listening.
Yeah, I try not to nod.
And have you donated yet?
Right. What I do is when I walk by them, I just try and I'll kind of close my eyes and just kind of tense my body.
Yeah.
And just kind of go like that because I want.
I've seen you do that.
I want the vibrations to really flow out.
Okay.
And sometimes people.
See, I assumed you had to go to the bathroom.
Well, that there are times where it is kind of a dual purpose, gesture. But I think when you pass these people, sometimes people are so closed off.
Yeah.
That you just have to sort of wash over them with your psychic energy, and you have to really focus.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of closed off, should people listen to this podcast with their clothes on?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, because that gets in the way of the spiritual stuff, doesn't it?
It really does. I think it's... if you've been listening with your clothes on... I think...
You know what? We should have set that up at the beginning, Karl.
Did we never actually say that?
We never actually said...
I can't believe we never covered that.
This is the intent of this podcast is to listen with clothes off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I know that's going to make it difficult for people who listen on their commute.
Yes,
but
not really. But if you're in a Karl, Karl, you're in a Karl.
If you're in a
Karl, then coming out as astral.
If you're in an
automobile, is what I was referring to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most people don't notice if you're unclothed.
No, I think it'll be fine. And look, it really depends on how committed are you to
being 11% better in your life.
If you're not willing to drive around naked, quite frankly. then
maybe this isn't the religion for you.
Then who the F are you?
I mean, this isn't a religion, and I call it a religion.
Not yet, because the paperwork hasn't come back yet.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think really that those people are being stupid.
Yeah,
and
I do.
And you need to look in your rearview mirror and say, who the F am I, a-hole?
Yeah.
If I'm not willing to take my clothes off driving around.
That's really what we're saying. So I think to sum up, you know, listen to the podcast naked.
Absolutely.
And when not naked in your life, sometimes you gotta have clothes on.
You're gonna have to put clothes on.
They should be boxers and
sweatpants, baggy clothes.
Baggy clothes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do want, Carl and I get cards and letters all the time, telling us how much we've changed their lives.
It's getting to be a problem.
It is, and so that's what I'm saying. Because it's all coming like snail mail, and I'm not even going to give out our physical address anymore.
No.
We want you to post this stuff to our Facebook page.
Yeah, please.
We want questions and comments on our Facebook page.
Save the stamp, because that's money that you can send directly to us.
Yeah, rather than paying for a stamp.
You don't have to pay for a
stamp. Take
that.
How much is a stamp now? They're like,
I think it's like $9.
They're like $59, something like that. Send that money straight to us.
Just to us, and just comment on the Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here's a slightly more physical world question.
Okay.
I guess so to speak. I have a job offer to take a new job. It's in my field at a slightly higher salary and less hours. Is there any reason that I shouldn't take this job?
Wow,
that comes to us from a listener in Des Moines.
In Des Moines,
yeah.
Okay.
I
would say, I mean, from a practical sense, you live in Iowa.
Yeah.
So any
higher salary, less hours.
Any ability you have to get out of Iowa, I would take.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it's out of state. And so I would definitely, I would jump on that.
See, I disagree.
Oh, really?
I disagree totally on this. Don't take that job. Start a podcast.
Of course.
Start a podcast. If you're thinking about a life move, listen, a podcast is a really unusual thing to do these days.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
it's very novel. Yeah, really.
One thing I can definitely say is the world needs more podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough of them out there. There's not enough listening options.
I might tell people podcasts, and they're like, "What is that? A bean? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Podcasting?"
Exactly.
That people think it's fishing related.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to try and explain it to them.
Who's
got time for that?
Carl and I are people that, we've never been really good at having jobs.
Or
going
really,
to places where people pay us.
No.
And it has led us to this 11% better state that we find ourselves in right now.
Yeah. Now, I would say, yes, I would say I think you're right. Start a podcast. But get out of Iowa. You start the podcast.
Where is Iowa in Russia? Where is that?
Is it Canadian?
I think it's Canadian.
I think it's
okay. Well, they have better health care up there.
It's so hard to tell. It's tucked away, way down there.
Yeah,
it's in a corner.
I'm pretty sure it's Canada.
Yeah,
and like I said, it's kind of I don't want to get into politics right now.
No.
But the Canadians at the moment, other than the weather,
right,
they have it better.
Yeah.
So
and
maybe
the weather,
they should stay in Iowa, Canada.
In Canada, I mean, the weather, all those tropical beaches, and it's right down there on the coast. It's so nice.
Yeah.
In Canada. I mean, from what I understand, I've never been, but I hope to fly down there one day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now listen. So stay in Iowa, Canada, and I'm assuming the podcasting rules are the same there. So. Start a podcast.
Yeah.
And on your podcast, you want to give credit to the podcast that inspired you.
Yeah.
The Movie Brewdio podcast with JW and Karl.
Right.
I mean, that's what's really inspired you.
You could say thank you, but I think the best way to say thank you spiritually is to just send cash.
Yeah. Now, so listen, though, they're going to have the next question.
Yeah.
Is, well, JW and Karl, we've got this, I've got this job offer. You're telling me to start a podcast.
Right.
How do I make money from a podcast?
Well,
that's a good question, right?
It's a great question. But this goes back to, look, if you're still worried about how you're going to make money, you're still in that 9% where you're trying to get.
Yeah, you're trying to get that extra 2%.
I mean, it's step one is make money. Make a bunch of money.
Make a bunch of money.
And so if you're asking how your podcast is going to make money, you obviously haven't done step one yet.
Exactly.
You obviously haven't made a lot of money yet.
I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to have a real heart share here.
Oh,
right now, Karl.
That's beautiful. And I just want to take a moment. I just want to thank you.
Well, honor me. Could we use the word honor?
Yes,
let's honor.
No, I will
honor one another.
I want to honor your contribution.
And my question is, how do you make money from a podcast? We have the same question. That's what's coming from my heart.
And I think, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah,
and I want to recognize, what you brought to the table.
Because this brings us to the level of the people out there.
But I think
10% lower.
I think
11%.
This is a question where I'm going to turn the mirror back to you, and I'm going to say, how do you make money with a podcast?
How do I make money with a podcast?
And I think that answer is different for everyone. Yeah. I think you have to find that answer in yourself.
I ask myself that question every day as the credit card bills come in for the website I've paid for.
It comes up a lot.
And the security I've paid for.
Sure.
And the apps that we've paid for and the microphones. Like, they don't just give that stuff to you.
No.
They want
they don't.
You can put it on that card, but then they come and they say, "Hey, you got to pay that back." And I'm like, "Well, you probably shouldn't have given me that money."
Whatever that is.
I mean, what kind of deal is it with credit cards anyway?
I don't know.
I don't understand. They loan you money.
I stopped.
They say, "Here, take this money."
I stopped using credit cards because I found out that it's so much easier to write checks, and that's counterintuitive.
Yeah, and then they don't come back and say, "Hey, where's my money?"
No, they don't
use.
And I found that, with the checkbook, I can write a check, and when I pay that check, there's always another check right underneath it.
Really?
And if I use all those checks, I just get another book.
That is amazing.
And it's like, and that's called the money machine.
Yeah,
and that is what you have to find.
Listen, we are going to have a whole podcast on the money machine.
Yeah. And that's, everyone, just have
devices
to find
financial advice from JW and Karl.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think once you start to change your life spiritually inside, then the finances are going to come.
Right. There's finances are going to come, and you have to have ways and means of supplying your spiritual source.
Yes.
I.e. JW and Karl.
Us,
by sending us money. So anyway, to sum up.
Yes.
For our job-seeking friend or our advice-seeking friend, definitely start a podcast.
Just start a podcast.
Give all the glorification to the Movie Brewdio podcast with JW and Karl.
You need to honor us.
You need to honor us with your podcast. Right. And you can help with questions on our Facebook page. How do we make money from a podcast?
Right.
Let us know that. Let us know your opinion.
Right.
Because we're getting kind of desperate when it comes right down to it. Yeah.
I think it's kind of at this point it's almost like a cone. Like what's the sound of one hand clapping?
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Well, but actually, it's like this.
Well, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technically, but like.
Yeah. You can do it. You just gotta have a good hand, strong hand.
Like if a tree falls in the forest.
Yeah.
Does anyone care? Well, that's a question they've asked for, 1,000 years.
Well, probably like the birds that live in the tree would care a lot about that, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, but they don't have to go find another tree. I mean, they're not podcasting.
Maybe we should do a podcast with birds.
An animal podcast?
Animal podcast. I think that's kind of the next big revolution.
I think so. I think that's probably a market we could tap into when I think about it because
I think every human has a podcast now.
Like maybe podcast for animals.
You know what? We
could do, we could do a podcast where it's just us going, who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Oh,
who's a good boy? There's
Oscar. See, it's working. It's working already. I think that's proof of concept that it works. Look how happy Oscar is.
Absolutely. So how do we make money on our podcast? Please tell us. Put those questions on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And any other
questions you have. Yeah.
That you may have questions about your marriage. I actually have another question.
Do you?
This is where it gets. This is a really personal question that someone really kind of poured their heart out and says, and this was anonymous. So I don't know who this is from.
Right.
I don't know where this is from. It's a random question. The spark has gone out of our marriage. What do you think that we should do to get that spark back? And they're pouring their heart out on a random Facebook page anonymously.
Well, anonymously, I just I want to take a moment and honor that question because that takes a lot of bravery. What I would say is, do you need me to come over?
Yeah.
Like, do you need me to? Yeah. You need me to warm her up or something?
Sometimes you know.
Because I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes. I want to help. I want to help people.
But I think it's actually from a female. So do you want,
look, how much money are we talking about?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't turn the lights off.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to help people. I just want to help
Karl,
you and your relationship.
Karl gives and gives and gives. And then when you think he can't give any more, he just gives more of himself.
Sometimes when you don't even want it. When you're like, no thank you.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you have to be. If you want to be 11% better, you have to dedicate yourself to that. Yeah.
And I know that you guys don't have a visual representation of Karl.
Right.
But I can tell you he has a really nice astral.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I get complimented on it quite a bit. Yeah. And I would ask that for our anonymous poster, could you send some pictures of yourself?
Yeah,
because that would help. That would help get us in the.
It helps us to kind of assess
like how involved we need to be.
Our level of it enables us to give an accurate percentage of you.
Sure.
In like how spiritual are you?
Something, just something full body, if you're at the beach or then you just pick anything.
Just take a selfie. Try to get a full body selfie.
Full body selfie.
Sure. And just upload that to the Facebook page, and then we can really go from there.
We could. That'll help a lot.
Yeah, that'll help a lot. Well, it'll help your marriage a lot. Yeah. And again, Karl and I are here to help you.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I really hope that everybody has enjoyed this new section of the Movie Brewdio podcast with JW and Karl. This section is called 11% Better.
11% better. Only 11% better.
Only 11%. Because any more than that, I know makes you... We don't want to make you feel bad about yourself.
And I feel good. I feel clear. I feel like I've achieved a state of now. Feel very confident.
All right. Well, this allows us to move into the next thing. Achieving the state of now.
Yeah.
Have you listened to the Headspace app yet?
No.
Not once. And you've had a crappy week,
and I should
because of it.
I listened to it one time, and I think I need to listen. I need to find the right time of day, and kind of set my because what happened. I tried listening to it at night. And I got about a minute into it, and then I woke up about an hour later. He's this British guy, and he's got such a nice, soft, kind of quiet voice, and he's giving you this guidance. Just let the thoughts come into your mind.
Let the thoughts come in. Yeah.
And then if you find yourself distracted, just recenter, and it's okay if the thoughts come in. And I'm just out.
Well, I'll tell you that he addresses that in. Day number 16, I believe, 15, 16, right? Falling asleep. Yeah, that was always my meditation cop out. I always fell into sleep because I'm a pretty easy napper.
Yeah.
There's something about the 10-minute time period with Headspace that is real. I can't believe we're still advertising for these people that are not paying me anything.
I don't know.
I'm gonna send them an email. Tell them I talk about them every week. Yeah, I am getting value out of Headspace. Today is day 25. Wow. I'm almost through my 30.
That's pretty cool.
I have not missed it. I honestly don't.
I'll need to swing back around to it and maybe I do it in the morning. I don't know what. I do feel like I need to do it because I can see where the benefit would be, and everything I read is if you can do sort of a focused kind of guided meditation is a great way to do it to clear your mind. Right, to clear out some of that, you find a quiet space, clear your mind. That can be really, really helpful. So
I have found, and again, the meditation is something I've known about for many, many years, and practiced for none of those years. There was times I've sat down, but I think I've always considered meditation a much larger commitment than 10 minutes.
Right.
And there's something about 10 minutes. There actually, for me, there has been something about paying for it. Like I'm that guy. I'm that 0.001% of people. If I join a gym, I will be at that gym every day.
Right.
That's just the way I'm frugal like that, and I have to get value out of things that I pay for. And I'm in Headspace. I'm sure there's lots of free apps that you can
probably
do
but now that you've paid,
but
now
that I've paid, there's something about investing in it that's making me do it. And it's such a little, I can find 10 minutes. I can always find 10 minutes. Sometimes, some days I'll do multiple ones because I'll do multiple ones because I felt distracted. I fell asleep.
Right.
I try to make it up. And, but yeah. So.
I'll need to swing back around to it and find, if I can find a time to do it that would be beneficial, I think, where I'm not super tired or, where I can just, because I think most people, if you set you could set 10 minutes aside to do pretty much anything. Yeah.
Sure. Did you do anything else this week not related to technology?
Let's see. What did I do this week not related to technology? I tell you, I've been talking about the like working on guitars or building. I wanted to build a little 2-string bass guitar. And so last Friday maybe I just said, you know what? Because I kept kind of going around going, well, I would need to get this, or I would need to get this thing, or I would need to get, I need to get these tools, or I need to get this wood, just whatever. And I looked around the room, and I actually had a 2x3, this long 2x3, and I thought, I'm just gonna hack away at this thing and see what I get. And so I just kind of drew it out and cut it with my little orbital scroll saw and drilled some holes, and I had a couple bass strings and put bass strings on it, and I was like, oh, it was a good proof of concept. Like I playing it, it was like, oh, I could see what I need to do when I build another one. If that makes sense. Like I could see, like, wow, when I do another one, I'll need to do this, I'll need to do that. But it totally worked. Like it totally, it was found. I had a pickup, a guitar pickup, and so I kind of just screwed that on, and plugged it into an amp, and I was like, oh, this totally works. Proof of concept totally works. So that was neat. That was a nice little project to. Sometimes I feel like especially when things are really churning, or I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything, project like that that you can just dive into and I've always been better, I think, on those hands-on projects. Yeah. Where I'm up moving and I'm thinking and I'm doing, as opposed to sitting and thinking about it. So that was nice. I mean, it was nice to after the week I've had, to feel like I've accomplished something was good. Oh yeah, it's been a rough week. It really has.
Yeah, there's a lot of world stuff going on right now, but not world stuff. Well, yeah, there's that too, but it's more community stuff that's going on right now,
and there's stuff
in lives and
it's like stuff in like your own individual world going on. Like
yeah. I had a nice moment. Kind of on the I don't feel like I did much that wasn't technology related this week, other than I taught a workshop on Sunday in Independence. It was a really good workshop. I felt really good about it. But my sister and her husband visited the end of last week, and they have not been here since my father passed. So I mean, literally, it has been a little over 4 years since my sister has been in the house she grew up in. We both owned the house after my father passed. I ended up bought my sister out. Like, all this stuff has happened since I've seen my sister pass. Yeah. So they came over, and we have done a lot. I always feel incomplete with this house because you can see, like, part of the wall's painted over here. Yeah. Well, there are a lot of incompletions in this house. But we really have redone this house in a huge way since we've moved into it. So I got that perspective of showing my sister, well, here's the bathroom I built. Here's the master bedroom I did. Right. We've redone Jillian's room. We've built Benjamin's room. Built an office down there. So there's a fence around here now. There's like all these things that I've done in the last 4 years that were project. So it was a little validating.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really awesome to see my sister and her husband Fred, who, they're just really good people.
Yeah.
They're very, I guess on a lot of like theologically and things we're very different. Mm-hmm. But they're just like, I don't know, they're just good people. So.
It's good people. I think your siblings are always, because that's kind of the relationship I have with my sisters, where we don't see each other hardly at all, and we don't necessarily really even talk all that. I mean, we talk through Facebook comments more than anything. I'll see something and I comment, or they see something and they comment. But when we're together, it's it's basically instantly. You're right back into...
It seems like no time has passed. I'm like, how has 4 years and 3 months passed? It hurts my head because it feels like we have a conversation all the time. I heard something once that someone was considering having a second child.
Yeah.
And they were of a family with two. And they said, well, you can't have one, you got to have two. And I was like, why you got to have two? And he said, because you need a sibling because no one else will see the world the way that you... It's the only other person who will relate to the world in exactly the same way that you do. Because you're brought up in exactly that same environment, the same values, the same system, the same, usually the same physical place, all of those things. There's no one else in the world who sees the world the way that you do.
Right. Yeah,
and that's interesting.
And that sense of someone who has that you, as you go through life, you have fewer and fewer people who have known you for your entire life.
Yeah.
Like that sense of even really good friends that we met in first grade or second grade, and we're still friends. It's a different kind of it's different than your sibling. It's know. And especially as your parents get older, you lose your grandparents, you lose your parents.
Yep.
Those people who knew you when you were a child, are really super important. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's neat.
Did you watch anything this week? You said you talked about that. I didn't tell you what I watched.
Yeah, I mean, I watched I didn't watch anything like concentratedness. I didn't sit down and watch a movie like I did last week. So I've seen just bits and pieces here and there.
I had, because I was having a bit of a week,
yes.
And but having a few days that I needed to sit down and be on the computer all day, so I usually put something on the pad in the background,
right?
And I punched up my HBO Go app, and I don't know what inspired me because I wanted something funny, so I started watching In Treatment.
Oh yeah,
have you ever watched In Treatment?
I've not seen it.
Oh my gosh, it is fantastic.
Oh,
he's a terrible shrink. Talk about but my gosh, it was. I'm only through, I don't know, 10 or 11 episodes of it, so each of the it's such a simple structure show, and it's almost, in a lot of ways, everything that I don't like about acting, because they're almost monologues.
Right.
It's someone sitting in treatment and sharing. Blair Underwood's in the first season that I'm watching. I don't recognize, and Diane Wiest.
Yeah.
And of course, Gabriel Byrne is the lead in it. But man, I'm taken with the show. And the simplicity and the brilliance of it.
Oh, I would say the one thing that I did see, I didn't get to see all of it, but the one thing that did bring me some comfort this week was watching spring training baseball. I got to see probably 4 or 5 innings of a Pirates game. And it reminds me, spring training always reminds me of how much I miss baseball when it is not in season. There's the, who I think it's Thomas Boswell who said it, that it's not necessarily that you have to see every game or that you have to hear every game during baseball season.
Right.
But it's the idea that the game is there if you need it.
Yeah.
Right? And there's sometimes where you need the baseball game.
Yep.
And so it's watching spring training. And it's spring training baseball. And it's not the games don't count and it's not real and they're not, but it's enough of that sense of baseball that you go, yeah, I really miss this. It comes back to me how much I miss it when it's not baseball season. Yeah.
Right.
So I felt better, and then I felt worse because they're not in season yet.
Well, let's now my who gets the kindness award this week? Perhaps will get us a little bit into. I don't want to end it on such a crappy note.
No, I will say my friend Jeff gets the the kindness award this week because he the other night we went and we did trivia and we came back and he said, hey, I'll pick you up, which he doesn't usually do. So we rode to trivia, talked, and we did everything, and then go back to the house, and and I just said, we were driving home, I'm really fighting depression. It's been just a really rough week, and he was like, "What's going on?" And so I was telling him, just kind of putting the stuff out there, and he was, just listening, and Jeff's just always been a guy that when I say I'm really struggling with this, things are bad, whatever, I'm struggling emotionally, whatever, he always says, what can I do to help? What is there anything I can do? Tell me what I can do, Yep. And it just the idea of talking through it, and if you need anything. And he said, hey, I go to the gym every day. You ever want to go to the gym, let me know. We'll go work out. We'll if you just want to come hang out, if you want to go do something. And it really meant a tremendous amount. It's when you're down and you reach out to people, and those people help pick you up. So it gives me a kindness award.
Yes, and you finally have something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had a friend the other day who we've known for years. He's a friend in California. I used to take care of him when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And anyway, he needs a kidney transplant.
Right.
Second one, his mom gave him a kidney transplant in 2007. So he has a chronic condition, and I'm going to get it wrong. So I believe it's called cystosis. It's a pretty severe condition that has slowly worn his little body down. But anyway, he needs another kidney, and out of the blue, this cadaver kidney became available. I believe it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it was like, boom, he gets a call. You got an hour to figure this out.
Right.
Can you imagine? He's been waiting forever, trying to match up with a live donor. Anyway, the way this all becomes a kindness award is that we all started pulling a lot of positive energy that all this was going to work out for Oliver. And I put it up on Facebook, just hey, send some good vibes, prayers, all that. And I think it got over 300 people just saying nice things.
Nice, excellent.
Just people that come out. Jason Wolk from school stopped and talked to me because his mom had been on the donor list for a long time and just had a kind word. So it was just this nice little thing that connected a bunch of people. Well, then it didn't work out.
Right.
He's in the hospital, prepped for surgery. His brother is flying in from New York. Literally, his brother and the kidney are mid-flight. I guess they do an autopsy on the corpse and they find some gastric cancer cells in the corpse. Calls the whole thing off.
Right.
And that's it. So, out of it, like I said, there's this amazing outpouring of kindness and people being kind and just wanting to be a part of supporting, something didn't work out.
Right.
That part is the sad part of it. But it doesn't exclude the kindness that happened as a result of this being put out there.
Yeah.
And the continuing kindness that goes on with this young lady who's in the accident, the runner, Molly. They continue to grow the Facebook page, people putting shoes out.
Right.
As I understand, there have been some improvements in her condition this week. Good. I don't have any detailed report other than... there's been a couple things, but I would say check out that page for updated reports and stuff. But I believe this is moving in a positive direction.
That's good. So, that's good to hear.
So keep the thoughts and prayers and hang your shoes out. Yeah. All that.
Yeah, but that's literally, I think, the kind of week that you and I have had.
It's
been an emotional roller coaster week. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing you could do. It's just you care about people and you want good things to happen, and it's
right.
You know, I felt at the end of Wednesday, I just felt like I'd gotten the crap beat out of me.
Sure.
And it's like he's not my family. He's
right.
like someone I care about. I haven't seen him. Well, no, I saw him last year.
Right.
But I don't see him often. I stay in touch with their family. I've
right.
You know, his stepfather composed both of my films. And so you know, they're just tremendously awesome people. But like, I can't even, if this were my child that were in the situation, like the emotional roller coaster that the immediate family has to be going through. And like I said, his brother living in New York now, flying midair, getting this news. I was like, oh God. So yeah, I'm like, I'm on an emotional roller coaster, not even really connected to it, other than he's a friend, you know. Yeah. So, yep.
Well,
so that's that.
So so thankfully we're recording on Friday, and the best part is this week is almost over.
This week is over. So F you this week.
Well, we would when I was working at the shelter, especially, we would have these weeks that would pop up.
Yeah.
And we would have usually 2 a year where everything went wrong, and to the point that I would look at like my staff who had been there with me through the whole my whole time, and I would go, Brandon, is this the week from hell? And he would go, this is it. This is the week from hell.
This is the week from hell.
And so you would just go, there's nothing you can do about it. And I don't know what atmospheric, spiritual energy. Someone had wronged and had transgressed against an old witch. I don't know. I mean, something. Yeah. But you would just have these weeks where nothing went right, and you just had to get through it. And it was like concentrated negative energy, and then you would get through it, and typically something then positive would happen. So it's like you just have to get through it. Yeah.
But that said, I want to end this on a positive note. Though I think probably the thing that got me through the week is when I went to teach the workshop on Sunday, Tess and the kids, Moana didn't come out till the next day, so they rented it on DirecTV. They rented Moana. They had watched it 3.5 times already, and then I watched it again with them. Right. Oh my God! Have you seen this movie?
Yeah, Moana's fantastic.
I am blown away by how good this movie was. Beautiful. And I haven't been so affected by a song since Happy came out in Despicable Me 2. Right. But that the You're Welcome song.
Oh, You're Welcome is great.
I mean, I love all the music in it, and Jermaine has a song, and Jermaine Clement has a song.
I loved We Know the Way.
Yeah,
the song where she sort of uncovers the past. And she goes into the cave. It's Oscar's favorite as well.
It's Oscar's favorite.
He loves when I talk about it.
It's his neighbor that he doesn't like.
He gets all excited about it. I know, you tell him, bud. You get him.
He does not like this.
Did you tell him?
Particular neighbor, unfortunately.
Did you tell him? My goodness. My goodness.
He's gonna have to go out.
Release the hounds.
Smithers. Let's let him go into the house.
Smithers, release the hounds.
Well,
everybody.
I think this is probably a really good point. We'll play the bumper music over barking dogs and whining lemons.
This caps off the week. This really does cap off the week.
It's a fitting close to this podcast. He's actually in the house now. Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, that kind of puts the...
That's the best episode ever, I think.
That really,
That's what our week's been, everybody.
There you
Thanks
go.
for listening.
All right, well, in closing, I've been JW,
and I've been honored to be Karl.
And this has been the Movie Brewdio podcast with JW and Karl. Episode number 14. Or maybe episode 1
of the next cycle.
11% better.
11% better. So all you Mayas out there.
11.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Mayas or Mayans?
Both.
Both.
All of you.
All right. And as we're so fond of saying, that's it, Fort Pitt. See you next week.